Good morning, students. In the yesterday's session, I given you one example, that is question number 6, as a homework. Now again I am taking that example, so tally your answers, students. So few students, they are sending the homework regularly. I am keeping a record. Now next to next week, if you are not sending the regularly homework, then I will call to your parents, students. So watch the video and set regularly homework. Now the question number 6. A company provided jet security services for the taxable value of rupees 64,500. Rate of GST is 80%. Company had, now listen, always remember that we are calculating the GST on a taxable value. Company has paid a GST of rupees 1,550 for the laundry services and uniform, etc. So what is the amount of ITC, that is input tax credit? Find the amount of CGST and HGST payable by the company. Now firstly we have to calculate the output tax. Output tax always calculated on a taxable value, same it is 18%. So 18% of 64,500. So what is your output tax? 18% of 64,500. So what is it? That amount is 11,610. So input tax is what? Already it is given that the 1,550 rupees. So GST payable is always output tax minus of input tax or input tax credits. Input tax means ITC. Okay. So after calculating, you will get the how much amount of GST paid by the company. It is 10,060 rupees. Now always remember, GST payable by two, SGST and CGST. GST payable means GST. So CGST and SGST are always, it is divided by 2, and therefore the CGST and SGST are 5,030 rupees. Don't be confused, students. If it is given that the input and output tax, according to that you have to calculate GST payable first. If already it is nothing is given input tax, just given that the taxable amount and the rate of GST, then you have to calculate the GST only. Okay, it is given that company is paid already, that is the input tax, and therefore we have to calculate in this way. Now question number 7. A dealer supplied a walkie-talkie set of rupees 84,000 with GST to police control room. Rate of GST is 18%. Find the amount of state and central GST charged by the dealer. Also find the taxable value. Very simple. A dealer supplied walkie-talkie of with GST means it is a total value. With GST means a total value. So total value means with the GST value. Okay. So rate of GST is 12%. So fine. Means 12% of X plus taxable amount is your GST total value. So X is equal to, firstly see, walkie-talkie of GST is 84,000. Let the amount of GST be rupees X. Taxable value of walkie-talkie is 84,000 minus of X. Now GST is 12% of taxable value. GST is 12% of taxable value. So X is 12% of taxable value. So your taxable value is always GST value minus of X, because we are considered that our taxable amount is X. Therefore X is equal to 12% of taxable value. So after calculating, now you can shift. This is the important equation to write. If you understood how to write it, definitely the answer is very easy. Just consider that because we are calculating the GST on a taxable value with GST value already given it. Okay, if your taxable value is X, rate of GST is 12%. So what is your taxable amount then? 84,000 minus of X. X is your GST. X is what we considered here. X is your GST. So total amount minus GST is your taxable amount, and therefore the taxable value is 84,000 minus of X. So X is equal to 12% of taxable value. X is GST and 84,000 minus X is taxable value. So anyone you can consider. Now here I consider GST is X and taxable amount is 84,000 minus of X. So x is equal to 12% of taxable value. So 100 you have to shift this side. So 100x is equal to 84,000 minus of x multiplied by 12. So after calculating, what you will get, the x is equal to 9,000. Now GST is 9,000. Taxable value of walkie-talkie is 84,000 minus of 9,000, that is 75,000. And rate of GST is GST by 2, 9 by 2, that is 45. CGST and SGST are 4,500 rupees. Understood? Very simple question. Just consider the rate of GST and taxable value, and according to formula you have to write. Now next question. This is also simple. A wholesaler purchased the electric goods for the taxable amount of 1,50,000. He sold it to the retailer. Now here chain is given. Wholesaler, retailer, chain is given. Okay. Now amount of it is 1,80,000. Retailer sold it to the customer, taxable amount 2,20,000. All these three are the different. At what value they are? Means input tax for input tax calculated on purchasing value, and output is always selling. Okay. Rate of GST is always same for the chain. Show the computation of GST in the invoice cell. Means invoice में हमें लिखना है. Now don't be confused. Now see output tax. Firstly consider the wholesaler. Where it is wholesaler? This one. Wholesaler purchase electric goods for the taxable amount of 1,50,000. Means output tax, and it retailer to sell to 1,80,000. Output tax is always on selling value, and input tax is always on purchasing value. So we have to calculate output tax for the wholesaler, that is 80% of 1,80,000. So okay. So input tax is always on the, so output tax is how much? 32,400. Input tax, it is always calculated on purchasing value. So purchasing value for the wholesaler is 1,50,000, and therefore it is 27,000. Now what is ITC? That is your input tax, that is 27,000. So GST payable for the wholesaler is output minus input, that is 5,400. So GST and SGST for the wholesaler is GST payable divided by 2, 27,000, 2700. This is GST and 2700 SGST. Now for the wholesaler, GST is 5,400, and CGST and SGST are half of them. Now for the retailer, here it is. They are purchasing, at what price he purchased? 1,80,000, and at what price he sell? 2,20,000. Now input tax calculate on 1,80,000, output tax calculated on 2,20,000. So input tax for the retailer, output tax for the retailer is 18% of 2,20,000. So it is 39,600, and input tax is calculated on purchasing value, that is on 1,80,000, and therefore GST payable is output tax minus of input tax credit. So 39,600 minus 34,400, therefore it is 7,200. So CGST SGST are 3,600 for the, for whom? For the retailer. So for the retailer 72,000, it is 3,600 and 3,600, correct. So don't be confused. और हार्ड जा रहा है तो क्या करना है? Wholesaler to retailer and then to the final customer. So according to this chain also you can write. So prepare this chain and then write the amount also. Always remember, output tax is always calculated on the selling value. Input tax is always calculated on the purchasing value. Okay, for anyone, for retailer, for wholesaler, for customer, to just we are paying GST. Okay, this is, there is no any output tax for the customer. Just whatever amount of GST there we are paying to the retailer or shopkeeper. Understood? So understood these 6 questions, 7th and 8th. Now question number 9. See, the Anna Patil Thane, Maharashtra, supplied the vacuum cleaner to a shopkeeper in a Vasai. Anna Patil supplied vacuum cleaner to the shopkeeper in the Vasai, Maharashtra to Mumbai. Okay, for the taxable value of 1400,000 and GST rate is 20. At what value? 14,000. Rate of GST 28%. शॉपकीपर सोल्ड टू द कस्टमर. अभी वो शॉपकीपर ने कस्टमर को छोड़ा, यानी सप्लायर हो गया अन्ना पाटिल, शॉपकीपर वसई का. शॉपकीपर ने किसको भेजा है? कस्टमर को. एट द GST रेट इज 16. टैक्सेबल अमाउंट इज ऑल्सो गिवन हियर. ओके, ओनली एट मीन GST वी हैव टू फाइंड द फॉलोइंग अमाउंट ऑफ CGST GST फॉर द टैक्स इनवॉइस इशू ऑफ अन्ना पाटिल. पहले अन्ना पाटिल का कैलकुलेट करना है, बाद में शॉपकीपर का. देन what is the CGST GST payable by the shopkeeper in the Vasai, that also we have to calculate. Very simple. For Anna Patil output tax is 28% of 14,000. Okay, because it is sale at 14,000, so it is how much? 3. अभी यहाँ पे इनपुट टैक्स दिया है नहीं. So what is GST? Whatever output tax is there, that is divided by 2, that is your CGST and SGST. So output tax is 28% of 14,000, that is 3,920. So CGST and SGST is GST divided by 2. Okay, now so it is 1,960. This is for the tax invoice issue by the Anna Patil. Now next, for the shopkeeper, output tax 28% of 16,000, because only taxable amount of that product is given, at what price they sell, and therefore just we are calculating here output tax. Here it is not given that at what price they purchase. Okay, so according to that output tax is 20% of 16,800, so it is 4,704 rupees, and GST is 4,470 rupees divided by 2. So what you will get? 2,352. This is for the shopkeeper. And ITC is input tax credit, that is how much? This is 3,000. For the shopkeeper it is 3,920. Okay, so amount of CGST SGST charged by the shopkeeper is this much. ITC is input tax for the shopkeeper is 3,920. So GST payable by the shopkeeper is output tax minus of input tax. For shopkeeper it is there now, because it is selling also or purchasing also. So it is how much? 4,704. Output tax minus of input tax is 3,920 rupees, and therefore it is 784 rupees of GST. It is payable by the shopkeeper, and CGST SGST are GST payable divided by 2. So it is how much? 3,392 rupees. So this is the shopkeeper invoice at the time of filling the return it pay. So students, all these questions you have to write in your notebook properly, and today's homework is that whatever activities are given that in a textbook, that activity you have to complete and send me.